Hi, if you want to watch exclusive content with hot girls that you won't watch on YouTube, namely where Naruto roasts Kushina and Mikoto and many other hot girls without restrictions, then visit my Boosty channel at the link in the description.
12 years ago, a nine-tailed fox demon known as the Kyubi no Yuka appeared in the ninja village of Kanahagakure no Sato, village hidden in the leaves, in the land of Hinokuni, land of fire. The village's leader, the Yondaime Hokage, fourth fire shadow, sealed the demon within a young boy at the cost of his own life. The boy's name was Naruto Uzumaki. The Yondaime wanted Naruto to be considered a hero by the village. Only a select few heeded his wish. Only the third Hokage, Fire Shadow, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Ninja Academy instructor Yumino Irika, the ramen chef Ichiraku Tuchi and his daughter Ayame, a gray-haired, one-eyed ninja named Kakashi, a spiky-haired, gray-haired legendary perverted ninja, clan heads, several shinobi, and a blue-haired, lavender-eyed girl of the same age as him actually acknowledged him. The Sandaime passed a law stating that the older generation cannot tell the younger generation the truth about the Kyubi. Despite the law, the rest of the village either ignored him or despised him, believing him to be the very being he was holding back. The rest of the village refused to even acknowledge his existence. They looked at him with disdain, whispered about him, told their children not to go near him, and even beat him and tried to kill him. The boy grew up hated and alone, with only a select few people who cared for him and for whom he cared. The boy entered the academy, and for 4 years played pranks on the villagers for attention. His grades were terrible, as he was last in his class. He also fell in love with a cruel pink-haired girl, who did not reciprocate his feelings in the slightest. Today was the graduation exam for Naruto's class. The test consisted of a written test, a throwing test, and a test of 3 jutsu. The 3 jutsu are Hinge no Jutsu, Transformation Jutsu, Kawarimi no Jutsu, Substitution Jutsu, and Bunshin no Jutsu, Cloning Jutsu. Naruto passed Hinge and Kawarimi, but failed the Bunshin as they emerged pale and dying. Dejected, Naruto sits on a swing, lamenting his failure. One of his teachers, who always seemed kind to him, Mizuki, offers him a way to become a Genin shinobi. This is where our story begins. Naruto sat on a swing, looking depressed over failing his graduation exam. Naruto was a 12-year-old boy with spiky blonde hair, slightly tanned skin, and 3 whisker-like marks on each cheek. He wore orange overalls with blue stripes on the shoulders. He had green glasses on his forehead. As he was feeling down, a man approached him. It was his sensei, Mizuki. Mizuki had pale blue hair that reached his neck. He wore a bandana-style headband. The symbol on it was a leaf with a spiral inside the leaf. He wore blue pants, a blue shirt, and a green flak jacket with a red spiral on the back of the jacket. "Hello, Mizuki-sensei," Naruto greeted, still looking depressed. "Hey, Naruto. I'm sorry you didn't pass. I wanted you to pass. So, I found something that will help you pass," Mizuki said to the blonde happily. "What? Really?" Naruto asked, instantly perking up. "Yes. You see, when there's only one student in the academy who fails the graduation exam, we have a special test for him," Mizuki said to the boy. "This is so cool," the fair-haired boy exclaimed happily. "What do I need to do?" he asked. "You need to infiltrate the Hokage Tower and steal a scroll. Don't worry, it's all part of the test. You need to bring the scroll to the clearing at midnight and master one jutsu from the scroll before the instructor arrives. Meet me in the forest in front of the Hokage Tower to learn more information and get started." "Okay, I'll do it, Databeo," Naruto replied happily. As Naruto turned and ran away, Mizuki left, grinning wickedly at himself for deceiving him. What neither of them realized was that a woman with blue hair and a short hind cut had overheard them. She had lavender eyes, and wore blue pants and a baggy cream-colored jacket. Her name was Hyuga Hinata, and she was noticeable to everyone else, but unnoticed by the person you like because they're extremely infatuated. with Naruto. She overheard everything and went to inform Iruka and the Hokage. When they were informed, the Hokage said they shouldn't interfere with the test and that they should let it go ahead and see how Naruto does. The Hokage actually says they should keep an eye on Naruto. Iruka and Hinata agree. After some time, Naruto is now sitting in a clearing after stealing the scroll and is in the process of learning the Kagebunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu. The difference between illusory clones and shadow clones is that a normal clone is an illusion, while shadow clones are tangible. They have their own chakra networks, and when they dissipate, the user gains the clone's memories. Naruto successfully used the jutsu when Mizuki came for the scroll. "Naruto, you passed. Now you can give me the scroll," Mizuki said. Naruto was about to comply when a man with pineapple-style brown hair and a scar on his nose jumped out of the forest towards him. It was Iruka. "Naruto, Mizuki manipulated you into taking the scroll. Run away. Go to the Hokage. He knows everything. Go now," Iruka shouted, and just as Naruto was about to run, Mizuki's voice cut through the forest. "Naruto, do you want to know why the village hates you?" Mizuki asked, a menacing smirk never leaving his face. Naruto turned to him, waiting for an answer, and Hinata, from her hiding place, wanted to hear the same information. "Mizuki, don't, that's forbidden," Iruka shouted at his traitorous friend. "Shut up, Iruka!" Mizuki yelled, throwing a giant shuriken at him, which pierced Iruka's leg. "So where was I? Oh yeah, 12 years ago, the Yoname didn't kill the Kyuubi. He sealed it into a newborn baby. That baby was you. Can't you see? You're the Kyuubi reincarnated." Mizuki screamed as Naruto froze in horror, his life suddenly making sense. Hinata watched, thinking that most of the villagers were idiots if they thought Naruto was the Kyuubi. If a kunai is sealed in a scroll, does the scroll become a kunai? No. Those are basic academy materials. Mizuki pulled out 3 kunai. "And now I'll kill the demon," Mizuki shouted in pure glee. He threw the kunai at Naruto, who was still frozen. The sound of metal hitting flesh was heard, and blood spilled onto the forest floor. The vision everyone saw was of Hinata standing before Naruto with 3 kunai on the right side of her back. They barely missed her spine. She looked Naruto in the eyes. "Hinata? Why? Why are you protecting me?" "I'm just a demon," Naruto asked. "Naruto-kun, you're not a demon, and don't ever think that," Hinata told him with a pained expression on her face. "And the reason I did it was because I love you," Hinata confessed as she passed out. Naruto stood there, shocked by the girl's confession. Iruka also sat, shocked by what had just happened. Mizuki had just gotten angry. "Looks like a demon whore got in the way. Well then, I'll just kill you too, and take the scroll and the girl to have some fun with her. Ha ha ha." Mizuki laughed evilly. Naruto's expression changed from shock to menacing anger. Red chakra pulsed around Naruto, forming a red curtain of chakra. Naruto formed a cross-shaped seal with the index and middle fingers of each hand. "If you touch Iruka-sensei and Hinata-chan," the chakra erupted, and 200 shadow clones appeared from the smoke, much to Iruka's shock. "I'll kill you," Naruto growled, his azure blue eyes turning red with a black slit for a pupil, and the markings on his whiskers darkening. Mizuki simply threw the remaining shuriken at the clones, destroying 10 of them. However, the rest vanished into smoke as Naruto screamed and clutched his head in pain. Naruto's eyes continually shifted from blue to red. Finally, they settled on blue and pale silver, the pupils contracting. Hinata woke up to Naruto's scream, and everyone looked into Naruto's eyes. The eyes had a silver background with a small black pupil, and 4 black rings in each eye, giving them a rippling appearance. The Hokage, watching all this from his crystal ball, was shocked to see the eyes, recognizing them from legend. Naruto looked at Mizuki with new eyes, and lunged at him with the 6 Kage clones he created. The clones distracted Mizuki, allowing the original to catch him off guard. Placing his hand on Mizuki's head, he absorbed all of Mizuki's memories, and then ripped Mizuki's soul from his body before losing consciousness. Arika and Hinata took Naruto and the scroll to the hospital, where they met with the Hokage and Hayashi Hyuga, the head of the Hyuga clan and Hinata's father. He was there because of Hinata's involvement in the event and to discuss something with her. They brought Naruto to the hospital room and sat down to talk about what had happened. Naruto woke up an hour later and noticed the Hokage, Arika, Hinata, and Hayashi. Huh? What happened? Naruto-kun, we need to talk, the Hokage said in a serious voice. Chapter 2: Reassessment of Values and the Beginning of Young Love. Naruto-kun, we need to talk, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, declared with complete seriousness. He wore a red and white haori and a red and white pointed hat with the kanji for fire on the front. Beside him was a man with long brown hair, white eyes, and a white robe. It was Hayashi Hyuga, head of the Hyuga clan and Hinata's father. "What's up, Grandpa?" Naruto asked as Hinata sat down next to the blonde. "Wait, Hokage-sama, can I please tell Naruto something first?" Arika asked, and the Hokage nodded. "Naruto, close your eyes," Arika said to the boy. The boy closed his eyes. After a few seconds, Arika told him to open them again. When Naruto opened his eyes, he noticed that Arika was no longer wearing the headband. Naruto also noticed the smiles on the faces of the Hokage and Hinata. "Congratulations, Naruto. I gave you my headband to show that you are now a Konoha Genin." Naruto almost cried with joy. "Thank you, Arika-sensei." "Naruto," the Hokage intervened, "there are still things that need to be discussed." Naruto nodded for the Hokage to continue. "Okay, you and Hinata both discovered something I was hoping only Naruto would reveal. Naruto, you are the Kyuubi's jailer, not the Kyuubi itself." Naruto nodded, and so did Hinata. "Now, I guess since there's no other way, I'll explain why Naruto was chosen. Naruto was born on the day of the attack, and only a child can contain the Kyuubi, but not just any child. Only an Uzumaki can contain the demon. The Uzumaki were a clan of sealed masters and shinobi with vast reserves of chakra. They had their own hidden village known as Yuzushio-gakure no Sato, Village of the Hidden Whirlwinds, in Yuzu-no-Kuni, Land of Whirlwinds. Everyone stared at the Hokage in shock for different reasons. Naruto because it turned out he had a clan, Hinata because Naruto turned out to be a clan member, Arika because he had forgotten about Yuzushio-gakure and forgot to teach it due to orders from the civilian council, and Hayashi because he remembered a specific Uzumaki that he and his wife Hitomi were friends with. "Naruto, your mother was from this village, and she came here to become the Kyuubi's jailer after Yuzushio was destroyed." Naruto was saddened by the news that his clan was practically extinct, but his spirits were lifted when he heard about his mother. "Your mother's name was Uzumaki Kushina, aka Kaichishio no Habanero, Bloody Habanera, and aka No Sure, Red Death, and she died on the day you were born during the Kyuubi's attack." Hayashi nearly went into shock at the name of his wife's friend, and then remembered the man Kushina had been close to. If he hadn't been supposed to act with dignity and restraint, his face would have fallen upon realizing who Naruto's father was. "She fell in love with your father, Namake's Minato, Konoha no Kuro-senko, Konoha's Yellow Lightning, and the fourth Hokage," the Hokage said. Time seemed to stand still. Naruto, Hinata, and Arika froze upon hearing who Naruto's father was. Tears streamed down Naruto's face. "Why? Why did my own father seal the Kyuubi inside me?" Naruto asked, wondering why his own father sealed a demon inside him. "Why would your father seal the Kyuubi into you? It's simple. Even if he could ask another family to use their child, how could he ask someone else to do that to their child if he himself wasn't willing to do that to his own? And on top of that, you need Uzumaki blood to seal the Kyuubi into you." Naruto's tears dried, and he nodded in understanding. but he still had some questions. "Why tell me this now?" Naruto asked with genuine curiosity. The Hokage sighed. "To be honest, I shouldn't have told you until you reached Chunin level, because then you would be able to deal with your father's enemies. But recently, certain factors have come into play that forced me to divulge the information so early," the Hokage said. What?" Hinata asked unexpectedly. "Naruto, it seems you've discovered a lineage that neither of your parents had," the Hokage said, and everyone stared at him in shock, thinking he'd gone crazy. "I don't have a bloodline," Naruto asked, shocked. "Yes, Naruto, you seem to have unlocked the Rinnegan, the eyes of the Rikudo Sannin." Hayashi and Iruka froze upon hearing this. They were familiar with the story of the father of ninjutsu. "What is the Rinnegan?" Naruto asked as Hinata also looked confused. "The Rinnegan is the dojutsu of the Rikudo Sannin, or Sage of the Six Paths. He had the first dojutsu and was the first person to ever use chakra. He was a true ninja and saved the world from the monster known as the Jubi 10 Tails. The Jubi was the progenitor of the Biju, which the Rikudo Sannin sealed within himself and divided the Jubi's chakra into 9 parts. By doing this, he created the Biju. He also fathered sons who became the fathers of the Uchiha clan, as well as the Senju clan." Naruto and Hinata's eyes widened at this information. "So how did I unlock them, and what can they do?" Naruto asked. "I'm not sure how you unlocked them. You could have been a reincarnated sage, or it could have been a gift from the kami, for all I know," the Hokage said sadly. "As for your abilities, the only thing I know about them is that you can see chakra, but not on the scale of the Byakugan, have an affinity for all 5 elements, and can apparently rip people's souls from their bodies." Everyone's jaws dropped at this. Then Naruto remembered something. "Wait, I also know everything that Mizuki knew. How is that even possible?" he asked. "The only thing I can think of is that you can read people's thoughts and then rip out their souls, but you have to touch the person," the Hokage said. "Wait, Naruto has the Rinnegan, and no one can teach him because the powers are unknown. So how can he even learn to use the powers?" Iruka asked. "I have an idea." Hayashi started to attract everyone's attention. "You said the Kyuubi was created by a sage, right?" The Hokage nodded. "So all Naruto-sen has to do is ask the Kyuubi what those powers are." Hayashi said it as if it were simple. "Which it is, but there's one problem." "Why would Kyuubi tell him?" Iruka asked. "It's better than nothing. I say we at least try," Naruto said. Everyone nodded, wondering if it would work. They told him that to enter his mind, all he had to do was meditate to enter. Naruto did just that, and soon he was in his imagination. Naruto opened his eyes and found himself in a large sewer filled with water. He walked through the corridors until he reached a giant metal gate with a large piece of paper on the front, bearing the kanji for the seal. Naruto peered inside and discovered a sleeping giant fox with 9 tails. "Hey, fox, wake up!" he shouted to the sleeping demon. "Who dared to awaken the mighty Kyuubi no Yuka?" Then he caught a glimpse of Naruto. "Oh, it's just you. What do you want?" the Kyuubi asked. Naruto's sweat dropped at the careless and insulting remark. "Okay, Kyuubi, I need information about my eyes. What can you tell me about them?" Naruto demanded. "Eyes? What eyes?" Kyuubi asked. Then Naruto showed him the Rinnegan. Kyuubi's jaw dropped in horror. "How? Where did you get your father's eyes?" Kyuubi asked. "I don't know, but what can you tell me about powers?" Naruto asked. "With these eyes, you have an affinity for all 5 elements: Inton, In release, Yoton, Yang release, and Onmyoton, In Yang release. You can also use the 6 paths." Kyuubi said quietly and without shouting. "6 paths?" Naruto asked, confused. "The 6 paths are Deva, Preta, human, animal, Asura, Naraka, and the outer path is a hidden 7th path that is associated with Naraka. The Deva path gives you the power to manipulate gravity." Preta allows you to absorb chakra. Human allows you to absorb information from people as long as you touch them, and you can also rip out their souls. Animal allows you to have multiple summoning contracts, and you can even summon animals you don't have contracts with, but they won't have free will or memories of being summoned. Azura transforms your body into mechanized armor and weapons. Naraka allows you to summon a construct known as the King of Hell for interrogation purposes, and to revive the 6 paths themselves. The outer path uses the King of Hell to revive the dead, returning souls back to their bodies. There is another power, but you should tread carefully. It's called Banbutsu Sozo, creation of all things. Kyubi explained. Naruto's eyes were wide and his jaw dropped at the information he heard, but some of what Kyubi said stuck in his head. Wait, you said to revive the 6 paths themselves. What do you mean? He asked the giant fox. One of the Renegade's abilities is shared vision. If you use clones, they can possess the Renegade as well as its abilities, and you can see what they see. If you use dead bodies, the same can be used for them. However, I think it would be better if you used all 6 paths yourself. Naruto nodded. Since his powers will be divided, I mean, who wants it? Meanwhile, in Amagakure no Sato, Hidden Rain Village, a shirtless man with red hair and needles protruding from his back due to the chair he was stuck to suddenly sneezed. At the same time, 6 men with orange hair and body piercings also sneezed. Back to the world of reason. Thank you for the information, Kyubi. Naruto said to the Bija. Don't worry, kid. The Bija said to the boy. Hey, why are you still so nice to me? Naruto asked. The truth is, you remind me of the sage, so I can't hate you. Besides, I don't really have anything against you or that blue-haired fox of yours. Naruto blushed at the comment about Hinata, because the fox knew he wanted to give her a chance. The truth is, I like you, kid. Not many people have the nerve to directly demand answers from me without trying to make me a slave. So, as an offer of goodwill, I'll tell you my real name. Kyubi said. Wait, you have a name? Naruto asked, shocked. Kyubi sighed. You know everyone knows Ichibi's true name, so why can't anyone believe the rest of us have names? Kyubi asked irritably, then sighed. Well, it can't be helped. My name is Kurama. Anyway, I have to tell you something later, but for now, your time is up. Kyubi said as Naruto disappeared. This boy, he will be the one who unites us. I know it. I just hope the rest of us are ready when the time comes. Kyubi thought. Naruto woke up to find Iruka and Hayashi talking to the Hokage. Hinata was lying next to him. When he stood up, Hinata woke up, and everyone turned to look at him. He explained the other powers he possessed, and everyone's eyes widened. The Hokage was the first to recover from his shock. I was originally going to put you on a team with Uchiha Sasuke and Haruno Sakura, but I think I'll have to switch teams. Too much paperwork. The Hokage complained. Well, see you tomorrow, Naruto-kun. Remember, team assignments are in 3 days. The Hokage said and left. Iruka left as well, saying goodbye. The only people in the room were Naruto, Hinata, and Hayashi. Hinata, could you please leave the room? I only want to talk to Naruto-san. Hayashi said to his daughter. She reluctantly left, leaving them alone. Naruto-san, I want to ask you a favor, but first, I need to know what your intentions are towards my daughter. Hayashi stated calmly. Naruto looked rather frightened, but who wouldn't be after the girl's father asked you such a question? Well, I'd like to get to know her better, and have the same feelings for her that she has for me. Naruto said to Hayashi. Very well, my favor is quite simple. Hinata cannot remain in the Hyuga territory for her own safety, as the elders will try to kill her. So my request is that she live with you. Hayashi said to the boy. Naruto was shocked, but nodded. Yes, I accept this request, Hayashi-sama. Naruto stated decisively. Okay, but know that if you do anything inappropriate towards her, I will strike, with a gentle fist, your reproductive organs, and then I will have a medic heal them, and repeat the process until I get tired and castrate you with the family sword. Do I make myself clear?" He threatened Naruto with a Byakugan-enhanced glare. Why yes, Hayashi SS-sama," Naruto stammered in fear. "Okay, I'll go tell my daughter what we discussed outside. I'll come by tomorrow with her things." Then Hayashi left. About 3 minutes later, Hinata came in, his face red. "So your father told you about moving in with me?" Naruto asked. Hinata nodded shyly. "Hinata," Naruto began. "Did you mean what you said?" he asked her. "Yes, I meant every word, Naruto-kun," she replied decisively. "Okay, then I can't say I love you, but I want to give us a chance. Okay, Hinata-chan?" Hinata blushed at this honorific and nodded her head. "Then how about we have a date tomorrow?" he asked. "Yeah. I mean, that would be great," she said, smiling. Naruto smiled at her. Naruto got out of bed and left the hospital with Hinata. They ignored the looks they were giving him as they headed to Naruto's apartment. When they got there, they saw how much of a mess it was, and Naruto decided to use his Kage Bunshin, shadow clones, to help clean it up. By the time they were done, it was nighttime. Hinata decided to sleep on the couch, though Naruto offered her his bed. 2 hours after they went to bed, Hinata woke up feeling extremely uncomfortable on the couch. She went to Naruto's room and woke him up. "Hinata-chan? What happened?" he asked sleepily. "I can't sleep, and I was wondering if I could sleep with Yu," she asked shyly, blushing deeply. Naruto blushed as well, but nodded. "Of course, Hinata-chan," he said. She climbed into his bed under the blankets and snuggled up to Naruto. "Thank you, Naruto-kun," she said before closing her eyes and falling asleep. "No, Hinata-chan, thank you for showing me that I can truly understand caring," Naruto thought as he fell asleep in the arms of the girl next to him. Naruto woke up to the warmth next to him, snuggled up to him. He opened his eyes and noticed Hinata lying next to him, hugging him in her sleep. He smiled at the girl hugging him in her sleep. Unfortunately, he felt a dark presence looming over him. He turned his head and saw that his front door was unlocked. But that wasn't what scared him. Oh no! What scared him was the figure in the doorway. Hinata's father, Hayashi Hyuga. And his Byakugan-enhanced gaze made Naruto shudder. Hayashi lunged at Naruto, anger smoldering in his eyes. Naruto jumped out of bed as Hayashi chased after him. The commotion woke Hinata. When she opened her eyes, she saw her father strangling Naruto in pure anger. Image of Homer Simpson strangling Bart. "Oh, father, what are you doing?" she asked in shock as her father strangled the man she loved. "That little bastard is going to die. I warned him not to do anything I thought was inappropriate, and he's already screwed up," he yelled, looking at his daughter, but still strangling Naruto. "Father, we didn't do anything. I asked if I could sleep in his bed because I wasn't comfortable on the sofa," she said. It didn't help, as Hayashi was still angry after that explanation. "He made you sleep on the couch? I'll kill him!" Hayashi screamed, twisting Naruto's neck even tighter. "Father, stop!" Hinata screamed. This caught Hayashi off guard, as his daughter never screamed. Never. "I decided to sleep on the couch, even though he offered me his bed. I couldn't sleep, so I asked if we could share the bed. Now, please stop choking Naruto-kun," she cried, and Hayashi realized he was still choking the boy. He then let go of the boy's neck, letting him fall to the floor. Naruto caught his breath, and Kurama, awakened by the noise, laughed out loud. "I'd like to apologize for that, Naruto-san. I think I went a little overboard," Hayashi stated as if he hadn't just choked the boy. This made Naruto, Hinata, and Kurama calmly think, "Was that just a little overboard on his part?" "I accept your apology, Hayashi-sama," Naruto said, bowing. Hayashi nodded. "I just came to drop off Hinata's things and noticed the door was open, so I was just about to bring them inside, but I got distracted," he explained. They nodded. "Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back. I trust you can handle moving everything." They nodded. "Okay, I'll be going, and remember what I said. Naruto, do nothing. And I mean everything," he said, walking away. Naruto sighed in relief. "Hinata, your father scares me," he said. Hinata simply nodded her head in understanding. "Well, then we can take everything in the house," Naruto said. Naruto formed a cross with his fingers. "Kagebunshin no Jutsu, Shadow Clone Jutsu," he said, creating 10 clones. Then Hinata and he went to bring the things inside along with the clones. After about 2 hours of bringing things and arranging them, they were finished. Naruto looked at his watch and saw that it was only 10 o'clock. "Hey, Hinata, want to get breakfast?" he asked. She nodded. They left the apartment and went to Ichiraku for ramen, since not many places would allow Naruto to eat. Hinata was a little angry about this, since the whole Kyuubi thing was pretty stupid for him to be hated. As they walked, they ignored the stares and whispers directed their way, which were, "A demon has a girlfriend? That's great." And, "A demon has a whore from the Hyuga clan." This actually angered Naruto, since he was tempted to rip the souls out of these idiots. Hinata saw this and held his hand, smiling to reassure him. Naruto saw Hinata's smile, and he instantly returned to normal as they walked to Ichiraku. When they arrived, they were greeted by Ichiraku Tuchi and his daughter, Ayam. Naruto ordered beef ramen, and Hinata ordered chicken ramen. They sat, ate, and talked, getting to know each other. Naruto learned that she was the girl he saved from bullies when they were 3 years old, and that he was her inspiration. They also learned about each other's likes, dislikes, and hobbies. An hour later, Naruto paid for the meal and headed to the training grounds so they could train. Hinata worked on her Juken Kata while Naruto worked on his Rinnegan powers, and with some scrolls from the library he borrowed, he worked on some elemental jutsu. Hinata discovered that due to her natural flexibility, she lacked the ability to use standard Juken. So she began creating a form using her natural flexibility and called it Juho, soft step, which is based on spins and resembles dance mixed with combat. Naruto was able to refine the Shinra Tensei and Bansho Tenin of the Deva Path's powers to their basics. He also began using Kagebunshin, Shadow Clones, for his elemental and chakra control training, which were from scrolls he obtained while working on his other Rinnegan powers. After 4 hours of training, Hinata was capable enough to hold off a Chunin with her new style, while Naruto, thanks to Kurama's memories, was able to help him choose a taijutsu style Naruto calls Kitsuniken, Fox Fist, which relies on speed and acrobatics. The style primarily combines speed and acrobatics with powerful strikes. It's similar to Goken, Strong Fist, but with a different stance and style. Naruto could likely hold off several Chunin with this alone, but by combining the style with his numerous Kagebunshin, he could overwhelm some Jonin. Naruto also began learning elementary jutsu, starting with Wind Jutsu. By the time their training ended at 7 o'clock, Naruto, thanks to the use of clones, had mastered the leaf-cutting exercise and how to harness the chakra absorption power of the Preta Path. Hinata had worked on her form and created a technique called Juho, Kyu Tenohira no Sudaraiki, Soft Step, 9 Palm Strikes, which is used to strike an opponent's 9 Tenketsu while simultaneously dodging their attacks. They called it a training day and went out to get some food. They then returned to the apartment around 7, where they ate dinner prepared by Hinata. It consisted of baked chicken with stir-fried vegetables on white rice. They sat, ate, and talked for an hour before deciding to go back to bed together, having fallen asleep cuddled. Meanwhile, at the Hyuga camp, the head of the Hyuga clan, Hayashi, suddenly felt the urge to strangle a certain blonde man with whisker marks on his face and had no idea why. The blonde man in question was trembling in his sleep. The next day, Naruto and Hinata went to the Hokage Tower after breakfast to take photos for their ninja license registration. After taking the photos, Naruto didn't do anything stupid, fearing what Hinata would do to him. After training with her for a day, he learned he wouldn't even try to anger her for fear of getting hit in the groin with a jukin. This, coupled with the fact that they were now dating and living together, had given her confidence in the approval of someone she wanted. He also learned she had a sadistic side, inherited from her father. Kurama also explained to them both the powers Naruto received from him, so Hinata could essentially beat him up, and he would come back unscathed, allowing her to repeat the process. After the photos were taken, a small boy with spiky brown hair, a gray helmet, a yellow shirt, gray shorts, and a blue scarf around his neck ran into the room and tried to throw a shuriken at the Hokage, but tripped over his scarf and started blaming Naruto. Then a man in blue overalls, a bandana similar to the Konoha headband, and sunglasses walked in, helping the boy up and looking intently at Naruto. "Why did you trip me?" the boy shouted to Naruto. "Gigi, who is this boy?" Naruto asked the Hokage, grabbing the boy by the collar. Hinata was also curious. "This is my grandson Konohamaru," the Hokage sighed. "You brat, put your honored grandson down immediately," the man in sunglasses shouted at Naruto. He apparently couldn't distinguish the kunai from the scroll it was sealed in. "Huh? What are you going to do now that you know who my grandfather is?" Konohamaru asked smugly. "I don't care if he's your grandma Databeo," Naruto exclaimed, hitting him on the top of the head, and then left with Hinata following him. "Don't worry, honored grandson, you don't need to mess with that trash. I'm an elite Jonin and can set you on the path to becoming Hokage," said the Jonin in sunglasses. Then he realized Konohamaru had disappeared. "What? Where did he go?" "I think he went after Naruto and Hinata," the Hokage stated. "What? That trash?" the Jonin screamed, running out the door, as if he were being chased by a giant snake. Oddly enough, the purple-haired woman in the dango shop in Konoha sneezed, as did the sickly pale man and the gray-haired, bespectacled teenager who lived underground just as the humans were thinking this. Meanwhile, back in the village, Naruto and Hinata were walking when they noticed the Hokage's grandson following them. He was rather poorly disguised, including a blanket that matched the fence, but forgot to cover his legs, as it only covered half his body. They continued walking until they grew tired of being followed. They turned around and noticed a square rock with holes for eyes following them. They were both sweating, and Naruto finally got fed up. "Oh damn it, we know you're there," Naruto shouted. The rock turned into a white cloud of smoke, and from it emerged the grandson of Hokage Sarutobi Konohamaru. "Yeah, that's what I expected from you. Fine, you'll train me as your student," Konohamaru said. What?" Naruto and Hinata exclaimed at the same time. "You heard that you will train me so that I can defeat my grandfather and become Hokage," he stated as if it was simple. "Listen, kid, I won't train you. I have too much to do," Naruto said. "Come on, I heard you once used a technique that knocked him out. At least teach me that one," Konohamaru pleaded. Naruto thought deeply, wondering what technique he had used to knock out the Hokage. Then his eyes flashed with realization. "You want me to teach you the Uroku no Jutsu, sex jutsu? Well, I don't understand why dash." Naruto was interrupted by a feeling of pure horror that both Naruto and Konohamaru felt. They turned to see Hinata with a sickeningly sweet smile. "Naruto, are you going to teach in this jutsu?" she asked kindly, and if you looked back, you would see the face of a Shinigami and, for some reason, a red-haired woman with her hair parted into 9 parts, like standing-up pigtails. Meanwhile, in the afterlife, a red-haired woman sneezed. "I have a feeling my son has brought upon himself the use of the ultimate female technique. Face of 1,000 screaming souls no jutsu. Oh, poor boy." Returning to the ground, Naruto and Konohamaru shook in terror. "Oh, of course, I won't teach him that, Hinata-chan. Naruto said in horror. Okay, she said, letting go of her terror. I'll go home. See you later, Naruto-kun. She then left, leaving the boys alone. Naruto then, against his better judgment, and with some coercion from Konohamaru, decided to teach Konohamaru the technique after a few pranks, including reading dirty magazines and peeping in bathhouses. After several hours of training, Konohamaru mastered the technique, transforming into a naked female version of himself. They were then found by a jonin wearing sunglasses. Honored grandson, step away from this scoundrel, Jonin Konohamaru said. No, Ebisu-sensei, I'm actually studying to become Hokage and gain recognition, Konohamaru said. Come, honored grandson, and I will teach you how to become Hokage. There are no shortcuts to becoming Hokage. If Konohamaru doesn't want to go, he doesn't have to, Naruto declared. Stay away from that boy, Ebisu told Naruto. Come, honored grandson, the Hokage should know thousands of jutsu, and you don't even know a single one, he declared. Oiroke no jutsu, Konohamaru said, transforming into a naked girl, which did not affect Ebisu in any way. How dare you use such a disgusting jutsu? Come here, honored grandson, he ordered. It didn't work. Konohamaru looked shocked. Naruto was simply annoyed. He created 20 shadow clones and combined them with the Oiroke no Jutsu, creating the Harem no Jutsu. Ebisu jumped back with a massive nosebleed due to being a closet pervert. Naruto and Konohamaru parted ways, and Konohamaru declared that they were rivals for the Hokage position. Naruto went home, and when he reached the door, he was startled by Hinata's sweet smile. Naruto-kun, I received a message from Hokage-sama that you are teaching Konohamaru-kun the Oiroke no Jutsu. I thought I told you not to teach him that jutsu, she said sweetly. Naruto flinched and noticed that the same faces from before had reappeared. Run, Naruto-kun, she warned, and Naruto ran out of there. That night was filled with screams of pain and torture across the elemental nations. The Tsuchikage turned white as a sheet, the Mizukage trembled uncontrollably, the Hokage covered parts of his body, the Kazekage fainted from sympathetic pain, and the Raikage jumped out of a window in fear. Men trembled. The red-haired man in Sunagekure no Sato had been warned by his mother to stay away from anyone who could do this. Hayashi trembled, but for some strange reason, he was proud of his daughter. A blonde with twin tails and large breasts was proud of some woman somewhere. A man with long, spiky white hair, peeping at a woman in a bathhouse, trembled uncontrollably, terrified of causing great pain to another pervert. And finally, in another universe, a teddy bear in Karakura town began to feel sorry for a man he had never met who was killed by a woman for doing something perverted. Naruto was able to escape this ordeal without significant damage to his reproductive organs thanks to his healing factor from Kurama, which Hinata knew about, so she attacked him knowing the damage would heal. He also learned to never anger Hinata again, and never disobey her orders again. Hinata woke up, sensing Naruto's tension. Good morning, Naruto-kun, she said. Good morning, Hinata-chan, he said, still scared from the beating he got from her yesterday, although she had every right to. I'm sorry I attacked you like that, Naruto-kun, but you deserved it, she said. Yes, I think so, he confirmed. What if I make breakfast as an apology? She said. Okay, he said, and they stood up. Hinata quickly showered and dressed, then went to the kitchen. Naruto did the same. She made them pancakes and sausages with scrambled eggs and orange juice. They left the apartment after breakfast and headed to team assignments. When they arrived at the academy and entered the classroom, their classmates were shocked to see Naruto, as they thought he failed. A boy with a pineapple-colored haircut. He was wearing a black shirt with a short-sleeved gray jacket and a forehead protector on his arm. He looked half asleep when he spoke. Naruto, what are you doing here? This is for those who passed, he said. I walked past Shikamaru. Didn't you notice my headband? Naruto said with a smirk. How bloody, Shikamaru said and went to bed. Okay, I have a question, the boy began. He was wearing a gray hoodie and had 2 red fawn-like tattoos, one on each cheek. He also had a wild grin and a small white puppy on his head. Why are you two walking together? He asked curiously. Well, Kiba, we're dating now, Hinata replied. Everyone soaked this information in. And then something completely unexpected happened. Finally! It's time, damn it! Shouted a boy with brown hair and sunglasses, wearing a gray sweater that covered half his face, including his mouth. Everyone was shocked that this particular person would shout that. Shino, how the hell did you know she was in love? Naruto asked, still shocked that Shino, of all people, would say such a thing. He had about as much emotion as a piece of wood. It was the same with his clan. Everyone knew Dobe. This was said by a boy with black hair shaped like a duck, wearing a blue shirt with a Gunbai fan symbol, half red on top and white on the bottom. He was Uchiha Sasuke, and he was the top of his class and Naruto's rival. Is that true? Naruto asked, and everyone in the class nodded. Among them were 2 girls who had just arrived to listen to the conversation. One had long blonde hair and was dressed entirely in purple. It was Ino Yamanaka. The other was a girl with long pink hair and a red dress. It was Sakura Haruno. Naruto's face twisted in reaction. Iruka walked in after Naruto stood up. Okay, everyone, sit down. It's time to find out the balance of power on your team. Everyone sat quietly and began to wait to see who would be called. Team 1 will be Dash. Never mind. Let's move on to the main commands. Team 7 is a special team. This is Uzumaki Naruto, Hyuga Hinata, Haruno Sakura, and Uchiha Sasuke. Your team will have 2 senseis, Hatake Kakashi and Mitarashi Anko. This irritated most of the girls in the class, as they couldn't be with their Sasuke-kun, with the exception of Sakura, who cheered them on. However, everyone was shocked that the Hokage had authorized a team of 6. Team 8, Kiba Inazuka, Shino Aburame, and Murasaka Tatsumaki. Your sensei is Kurina Yuhi. Kiba and Shino nodded at each other and turned to their 3rd teammate. She had long, purple hair down to her neck and brown eyes. She wore dark blue pants with 3 purple stripes on each leg. She had purple shin guards. She wore a black t-shirt with a purple tornado on the back. She wore purple arm guards and black fingerless gloves. She carried a black metal blowpipe on her back and wore 2 purple geisha fans around her waist, one on each side. Each fan had a white lotus flower on it. She nodded to the boys, who were smiling, pleased with their team. Since Team 9 is still in rotation, Team 10 is Shikamaru Nara, Chuji Akimichi, and Ino Yamanaka. Your sensei is Asuma Sarutobi. Ino shouted that she wasn't with Sasuke. A chubby boy with brown hair, wearing a green short-sleeved jacket and a yellow shirt with a red symbol on it, along with a white scarf. He wore a forehead protector like underwear, and his hands were wrapped in bandages. He ate chips like they were his last meal. He is Chuji Akimichi of the Akimichi clan. Shikamaru simply sighed, declaring that it would be troublesome. As Iruka finished, a purple and brown blur flew through the window, shattering it. The blur landed in the middle of the room. It was a woman. She had purple hair tied in a spiky ponytail and light brown eyes with no pupils. She had a Konoha 8 tie on her forehead, and under her brown cloak, she wore mesh armor with an orange skirt. Most of the boys got nosebleeds from the sight. The only ones who didn't were Naruto, out of fear of what Hinata would do to him. Sasuke, because he was too busy thinking, Shino, because he was stoic even though he was blushing, and Shikamaru, because he was sleeping. I'm the stunning and sexy Mitarashi Anko. Team 7, meet me on the roof, she explained, and everyone looked at her like she was crazy. I said, Team 7, meet me on the roof. She spoke as if no one had heard her, then vanished onto the roof in a Shanshin body flicker. Naruto, Hinata, Sasuke, and Sakura stood up to head to the roof. They arrived there 5 minutes later and found Anko waiting for them. "Okay, I'll warn you now," she began. "Kakashi is always 3 hours late for everything except B rank or higher missions. So we have 3 hours to kill. Now, what do you all want to do to kill time?" she asked. "Oh, I know," Naruto began, rummaging through his pockets. He pulled out a deck of cards. Then he made a hand sign. "Kage Banshin no Jutsu." Naruto created 3 clones. "Run back to the apartment and get my pranking supplies. Sensei is getting pranked for keeping us waiting." The clones nodded and left. Sasuke and Sakura both raised an eyebrow at the solid clones. "Now, does anyone want poker?" he asked. They all shrugged and started playing poker together. 3 hours later, a man with gravity-defying silver hair, a mask covering his nose and lower face, and a headband covering his left eye entered the classroom. He was wearing the standard attire most jonin wear. He entered the classroom and tripped. He stepped on a tripwire, causing him to fall face down onto the orange paint on the floor. The tripwire was actually the trigger for the rest of the trap. What happened was that 4 buckets of paint fell and covered his back in purple paint. Basically, he looked pretty crazy. Now Kakashi was annoyed for a reason. His book, Ika Paradise, was also covered in paint. It was ruined. Kakashi looked at the board and saw a message saying Team 7 was on the roof. He shunched up to the roof and found everyone playing poker, with Naruto the biggest winner. His eyebrow twitched at what he saw. "Okay, my first impression is that I hate you all," he told them. They all looked at him and burst out laughing. Naruto and Anko were rolling around on the ground, laughing and rolling. Hinata and Sakura were giggling, and Sasuke stood silently. But soon, he did the unthinkable. He laughed. He actually laughed. He burst out laughing like crazy when he saw it. Everyone stopped to see Sasuke laugh, and then looked up at the sky to see if it was blood red and raining fire. They all calmed down after Naruto won the next hand, and took all of Anko's money. They all vowed never to play cards for money with Naruto again, even though Anko mentioned something about taking him to a casino. The Genin sat on the ground, Kakashi stood in front of them, and Anko sat behind him on the railing. "Okay, why don't we all introduce ourselves?" Kakashi said. "How?" Sakura asked. "Oh, you need to tell me your name, likes, dislikes, hobbies, and future goals." "I'll start. My name is Hitaki Kakashi. I have things I like and things I don't like. As for my dreams for the future, I have a lot of hobbies," he said. This made everyone think the same thing. All we knew was his name. "I think I'm next," Anko began. "My name is Mitarashi Anko. I like dango, red bean soup, snakes, and tea. I don't like a certain snake or spicy food. My hobbies are performing tea ceremonies and torturing people in the torture department. My future goals, well, there's a certain creature I want to behead," she said. "Pepto-Bismol, you're ahead," she said, gesturing at Sakura, who looked annoyed at the nickname. "My name is Haruno Sakura, I like." She looks at Sasuke. "I don't like Ino pork and Naruto baka." Then Naruto interrupted her. Yeah. I don't care," Naruto said casually. This stunned everyone except Hinata. But then, they remembered that he was dating Hinata now. "My hobbies include..." He looks at Sasuke. "And my goal for the future." He looks at Sasuke. Everyone had the same thought. "Great fan." "Wonderful," everyone thought sarcastically. "Okay, Lord Emo, you're next," Anko told Sasuke. He chuckled in irritation at the nickname. "My name is Uchiha Sasuke. I like very few things, and I dislike most things. I have no hobbies, and my dream, well, it's not a dream because I will make it a reality. My goal is to restore my clan and kill a certain person," Sasuke stated in his emotional tone. This made everyone ponder what he said. "It's not good that he's thirsty for revenge." I'll have to try to turn him away from that path. Kakashi. Sasuke-kun is so cool. Sakura. Will I be the only normal member on this team? Hinata. Oh my god! Who made him so angry? Naruto. Well said, Mr. Unicorns and Sunflowers. Anko simply voiced her thought. Blondie, let's go, she said to Naruto, who immediately launched into his introduction. My name is Uzumaki Naruto. I like Hinata-chan, the boy said, blushing. Ramen and training. I dislike people who can't tell a kunai from the scroll it's sealed in, and vegetables. My hobbies are training with Hinata-chan and gardening. My goal is to live up to the legacy I hold and become Hokage, he said. Everyone except Hinata was shocked that he didn't blurt out something like, I'll become Hokage, believe me. Hinata wasn't shocked because she knows Naruto better than most, simply from the short time she lived with him. His approval also made her more confident. Sakura and Sasuke were confused by the three legacies, but said nothing for now. Kakashi and Anko were informed of the blonde's powers and heritage. Needless to say, they were both shocked to hear about his lineage. Anko got punched in the face for not noticing who he looked like, and Kakashi knew it beforehand. Well done, Princess, you're next, Anko said. My name is Hyuga Hinata. I like Naruto-kun and cinnamon buns. I dislike ignorant people and the caged bird seal. My hobbies include talking to Naruto-kun and training with him. My future goals are to unite my clan, prove my worth to the village, and start a family with a certain person, she said shyly, looking at Naruto's blushing face. Naruto blushed, and everyone was stunned by what she said. They wondered if this was the same shy Hinata from the academy, because it was quite bold. But it was time to move on with the meeting. Well, Anko and I are your senseis. Well, if you can pass our test, Kakashi stated. Wait, what test? We already took the test at the academy, Sakura said. The Genin were confused, as they had already taken the test. It was just to see if you had the potential to become a Genin. There's a test we're giving you to become an official Genin. We'll meet at Training Ground 7 tomorrow at 6 a.m. Oh, and I'd advise you not to eat breakfast or you'll throw up, Kakashi said and disappeared. Anko followed him. Naruto and Hinata left soon after, and Sasuke left, followed by the annoying Sakura. Naruto and Hinata soon headed to Training Ground 13, a forest training ground with a waterfall. Hinata went to work on her techniques. Naruto created 500 clones and sent them out to train, 100 of which practiced tree climbing. 200 practiced a waterfall cutting exercise, and the last 200 perfected their taijutsu. The original Naruto, meanwhile, worked on his Deva path and fully mastered Shinra Tensei, Almighty Push, and Bansho Tenin, Universal Attraction. Hinata worked on her Juken and tree walking exercise. After 2 hours, Naruto's clones mastered the exercise and began working on the jutsu to use. They trained for another 5 hours, and Naruto mastered 3 paths and mastered 6 wind jutsu. These are Futon, Rapusho, Wind Style, Storm Palm, Rank C, Futon, Kaze no Yari, Wind Style, Wind Spear, Rank B, Futon, Daitapa, Wind Style, Great Breakthrough, Rank C, Futon, Kaze Bori no Jutsu, Wind Style, Wind Ball Jutsu, Rank B, Futon, Kaze no Hama, Wind Style, Wind Hammer, Rank B, and Futon, Kaze Hoshi no Jutsu, Wind Style, Wind Star Jutsu, Rank A. Hinata eliminated several flaws in her taijutsu and worked better on her chakra control. They went home, ate dinner, and slept together. They were ready for tomorrow's test. Naruto and Hinata woke up at 4 a.m. They showered and decided to have a little breakfast. They grabbed their things and went outside, deciding to stop by a weapons store to study for the exam. Now that Naruto had more money, he could buy more than just the bare necessities. They stopped at a local store called Kinzoku Tora, Metal Tiger. There, they were met by an acquaintance of Hinata's. It was a friend of her cousin Tintin. She was wearing a pink blouse and dark green pants, and her brown hair was pulled back into two buns, with two bangs falling onto a headband. Her father owns a weapons store, and she works there part-time. She and Hinata are good friends, as she often saw her with her cousin. "Welcome to Kinzoku Tora. How can I greet you, Hinata? What are you doing here?" she asked, recognizing Hinata. "Oh, Naruto-kun and I are getting weapons for the Jinin exam," Hinata explained. "Well then, don't be shy. Look, wait, who are you with?" she asked. That would be me," Naruto said. Tenten looked at him, then turned to Hinata. "Your boyfriend?" Hinata nodded. "Okay, Naruto, can I talk to you?" she asked. Naruto nodded and followed her. They walked to the other end of the store, and Tenten met him with a hostile look. "Listen, Naruto, and listen carefully. I consider Hinata my friend, and if you hurt her, I swear I will unleash 3,000 kunai on a specific part of your body. Do we understand each other?" she asked, twirling the kunai around her finger to make her voice even more menacing. "CC crystal clear," Naruto replied in horror. "Okay, now let's get you two some new gear," she said with a smile, as if she hadn't just threatened Naruto. Naruto simply sweated at the change in mood. Naruto and Hinata were looking around the store for weapons when their attention was drawn to some clothes. Hinata examined a pair of black A&B pants, a black shirt, and a purple hooded jacket. Naruto found a pair of black pants with an orange stripe down the legs, a black long-sleeved shirt, orange and black fingerless gloves, and a long, short-sleeved black coat adorned with orange flames and a red and yellow pattern on the back. The coat had a hood. The clothes looked like they were made especially for them, like some higher power had just sewn them for them. No, just imagine. It's like someone is monitoring your every move. I mean, who would believe that? They bought a change of clothes and then acquired weapons. They bought everything they needed, as well as special weapons for themselves. Hinata bought herself a pair of sayas with purple handles. Naruto found a sword. It was a katana with a gleaming silver blade, but the handle was actually black and white cords, coiled like snakes around a wooden hilt. They bought their gear and headed to the training grounds. It was 6 a.m. when they arrived, and Sasuke and Sakura were there too. Sasuke and Sakura were visibly tired, clutching their stomachs and impressed by their new clothes. Then, they all remembered Anko's warning that Kakashi would be late. It had been a long 3 hours. Naruto decided to send his clones out to scout the area while he practiced a bit with his new sword. Hinata did the same with her sayas. They weren't ready for actual combat, as they were inexperienced, but they didn't think their presence at the test would hurt. Sasuke trained a bit, while Sakura groveled before him. After 3 hours of light training, Anko and Kakashi appeared in a flurry of leaves. "Sorry, we're late. We got lost on the road of life." Everyone's eyebrows twitched except Kakashi and Anko. Kakashi picked up 2 bells and tossed one to Anko, who caught it. "Okay, your test is to get these bells from Anko and me. Anyone who doesn't have a bell returns to the academy. Any questions?" he asked. "But Sensei, there are only 2 bells," Sakura said. "Good observation, Pinky. That means 2 of you are returning to the academy for an indefinite period," Anko said. The Genins were shocked by this information. "If I don't get the bell, Sasuke-kun won't be with me," Sakura thought. "If I don't win, I won't be able to defeat him because I'll be sent back." Sasuke. "If Naruto-kun doesn't get the bell, he'll be sent back and won't become Hokage." Hinata. "If Hinata-chan doesn't win, she won't be able to prove everyone who doubts her wrong." Naruto. Everyone looks at Kakashi and Anko with determination. And then Kakashi takes out an alarm clock and 2 lunch boxes. "You have until noon to get the bell. If you don't have the bell, you won't get lunch." He heard Sakura and Sasuke's stomachs rumble, but not Hinata and Naruto's. Then he set his alarm for noon. "Your test begins now." The Genin disappears, and Anko goes to another part of the training grounds. Kakashi remains in place. Hinata ran for cover, but as she ran, she started thinking. How would a rookie Jonin defeat one Jonin, let alone two? And I've never heard of a two-person team with two senseis. I mean, a four-person team with two senseis is weird enough, but if two were sent back, we wouldn't need an extra Jonin sensei. That's when it hit her. They're trying to separate us, pitting us against each other, she concluded. Then she heard the sounds of battle and Naruto's voice. The others should know this, she said, and rushed off to find everyone. She saw something pink slam into a tree. She jumped down to check. It was Sakura, who had been thrown into the tree by her opponent. The snake master herself, Anko Mitarashi, emerged from the shadows. Well, it looks like the princess wants to play. Be a good girl and go away so I can finish off that pink harpy, she said, pointing at the fallen Sakura. That won't happen, Hinata stated decisively, assuming the Jukin stance. Why are you helping her? You're not friends, Anko asked. She's my friend, and that's enough, Hinata said. Okay, princess. Let's dance, Anko exclaimed, throwing herself at Hinata. Anko struck Hinata in the face with her right hand. Hinata ducked, activated her Byakugan, and raised her left hand, attempting to slam her palm into Anko's chest. Anko dodged to the left and lifted her right leg, aiming for Hinata's chest. Hinata leaped over the strike, somersaulting. As she somersaulted, she struck a chakra point on Anko's leg with 2 fingers of her right hand. Hinata landed on her feet, facing Anko. Hinata leaned forward and kicked her right leg forward to trip Anko. Anko leaped over the trip. She spun in midair and brought her left hand down on Hinata like a hammer. Hinata leaned to the left to avoid the strike. Hinata spun and slammed her right palm into Anko's chest, hitting a different chakra point. Anko staggered from the strike, but remained on her feet. Not bad, princess, but I'm going to power this up. Anko stepped through the Snake Tiger hand seals. Senya Joshu, Shadow Snake Slayer. Snakes appeared from under Anko's sleeves. Hinata dodged one snake by leaning to the left, then leaped over another snake. While she was in the air, 2 more snakes pounced on her. Hinata slashed at one snake with her axe and simultaneously slammed her palm against the other snake that was approaching her. Then she saw the snake lunge at Sakura. Hinata threw a shuriken at the snake, but it dodged and returned to its owner. Hinata landed on the ground and lunged at Anko. Anko tossed her bell into the air, but then threw a shuriken at Sakura. Hinata could either catch the bell or save Sakura. Hinata threw a kunai at the shuriken to block it. Anko snatched the bell out of the air and then leaped into the forest while Hinata was distracted. Hinata went to help Sakura wake her up. She succeeded by shaking her. Hinata? What happened? Sakura asked, confused. Anko knocked you out and fought me. I know what this test is all about. It's teamwork. We all need to work together, Hinata told Sakura. Why are you so sure? Think about it. If we were a team of 4 with 2 senseis and they wanted to split us up, they would have done it right from the start, giving 2 of us to one sensei and 2 to the other. 2 Jonin with 2 senseis would be on equal footing. And do you really think Jonin fresh out of the academy can defeat 1 Jonin, let alone 2? Hinata said to the girl. Sakura thought for a second, and then it dawned on her. Hinata was right. We should tell Sasuke-kun and Naruto, Sakura said. Hinata agreed and went to look for the boys. Meanwhile, Anko watched them from the shadows with a smile. They understood what this test was. She knew they could all handle it, but that didn't mean she wouldn't mock them during it. Meanwhile, on the other side of the territory, Kakashi waited for something to happen. Sasuke and Naruto decided to attack, but they chose the same moment. Kakashi saw them and decided to take out an orange book from his weapons pouch, titled Ichi-Ichi's Paradise, which he began reading. The Jonin became angry and decided to attack. Naruto lunged forward and kicked Kakashi in the head. Kakashi ducked, still reading his book. Sasuke ran up and kicked Kakashi in the stomach. Kakashi caught Sasuke's leg with his free hand, still reading his book. Kakashi threw Sasuke at Naruto, who caught him. Sasuke pushed off Naruto and turned to face Kakashi. Sasuke lunged at Kakashi and unleashed a flurry of punches. Kakashi actually put his book down to dodge the punches. Sasuke leaped, aiming his right fist at Kakashi's head. Kakashi leaned to the right to dodge, and Sasuke used his momentum to kick Kakashi with his left leg, who blocked the punch with both hands. Kakashi didn't notice Naruto slip behind him and trip him. The force of Sasuke's punch, combined with his kick, knocked Kakashi to the ground. However, Kakashi quickly got up. "You two aren't so bad, but let's test your ninjutsu," Kakashi said, preparing for battle. Naruto and Sasuke grinned. Naruto formed a cross with his hand seals. "Kage Bunshin no Jutsu." 30 clones rushed at Kakashi, who destroyed them left and right. Kakashi jumped into the air to dodge 5 clones that were striking him. Then he noticed Sasuke forming hand seals. Kakashi recognized Sasuke's hand seals and formed the same ones. Tiger Monkey Boar Horse Tiger. Katon, Kokaku no Jutsu. Fire Release, Fireball Jutsu. Kakashi and Sasuke released 2 large fireballs at each other. The fireballs clashed, battling for dominance. Neither flame gave up in this duel. Naruto, watching this, decided he had enough and performed hand seals. Futon, Daitapa. Wind Style, Great Breakthrough. Naruto clasped his hands together, creating a gust of wind. He directed it at Sasuke's fireball to amplify it. Kakashi saw his flames grow stronger and used his technique. He then leaped from the air to the ground and charged at Naruto, but was thrown off course when a small fireball fell to the ground right in front of him. Sasuke released fireball after fireball from his mouth, using Fire Release, Phoenix Flower Jutsu, Fire Release, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Kakashi ran in the opposite direction, dodging left and right to avoid the fireballs. Naruto decided to use the path against Kakashi. He created 5 shadow clones and activated his Rinnegan, as well as the clone's Rinnegan. The first clone reached out to Kakashi. Bansho Tenin! Universal Attraction. An invisible force pulled Kakashi toward the clone. While Kakashi was flying, another Naruto clone kicked him in the face, sending him flying backwards, and the first clone canceled the technique. Another clone approached Kakashi from behind and kicked him in the back. The impact and the momentum of the flight caused Kakashi to arch in pain. The fourth clone landed a right punch to Kakashi's face while he was still pinned to the clone's fist. Kakashi was launched into the air. The fifth clone rose above the flying Kakashi and grabbed his hands, bringing them down on Kakashi's head like a hammer. Kakashi fell to the ground. The real Naruto extended his hand to the falling Kakashi and muttered, Bansho Tenin! Kakashi was lifted into the air and brought to Naruto's outstretched hand. Naruto was about to grab the bells when Sasuke pushed Kakashi away from Naruto, and he fell into a tree. What was that? I almost caught him! Naruto shouted. Please don't be so serious. This bell is mine. But thank you for softening it for my victory, Sasuke said, noticing that Naruto's eyes had changed. What happened to your eyes? Sasuke asked. Naruto realized he hadn't deactivated his Rinnegan, which he planned to keep secret for now. That option was out of the question. It doesn't matter, Naruto said. Dab, I demand that you tell me what happened to your eyes. Well, I must say, I was impressed by how you fought, but now I'm just disappointed because instead of striving for victory, you two are squabbling over trivial things. A voice from behind quickly put an end to the argument. They turned to see Kakashi standing there. He was bruised and slightly injured, but still able to fight. Now it all ends here for you two. Kakashi began performing hand seals. Tiger Dragon Horse Dog Dragon Tiger. Katon, Mori Nagar no Jutsu. Fire Release, Blazing Stream Jutsu. Kakashi unleashed a stream of fire at them. The flames were blood red and grew into a massive wave of fire. The fire was too powerful for Naruto to completely absorb with his Preta path. And even if he had, Sasuke would have been hurt too. The flames were too fast for them to dodge. Naruto had no choice, but fortunately, they didn't have to wait long. Two blurry figures grabbed them and carried them away. One was pinkish red, the other blue-violet. Kakashi saw what had happened and decided to read his book. The sight of Kakashi reading this book made Anko's mouth water. "How are Hinata and Sakura doing?" Kakashi asked Anko, not looking up from his book. "I easily threw Pinky against a tree when she tried to attack me with her fists. I just threw her against a tree. She needs training." "A lot," she said. "And Hinata?" he asked. "The princess actually did hit me a few times, but more importantly, she protected Pinky from me several times. She even gave up the opportunity to ring the bell to save her. I think she got the message," Anko said. Kakashi grinned under his mask. "We'll see. There's only an hour and a half left." With Genin, Naruto and Sasuke were confused about what just happened. "Okay, I know you two are unsure about what happened, but we need to tell you the real purpose of the test," Hinata told them. This caught the boys' attention. Think about it. Have there ever been two male teams with one Jonin, let alone two? If we did that, we wouldn't need two Jonin because they could have simply split us into two separate teams. Besides, how could they expect Genin to handle one Jonin alone, let alone two Jonin? The test is a team effort. We all have to work together, Hinata explained. The boys thought about it, saw the logic, and nodded, agreeing to work together. Then they all came up with a plan. Kakashi was still reading, and Anko was twirling a kunai on her finger. Then they were alerted by the loud sounds of Katon, Gokaku no Jutsu, Fire Release, Fireball Jutsu, and Buton, Repusho, Wind Release, Storm Palm. A huge whirlwind of fire descended from the forest onto the two Jonin. They dodged the flames. Kakashi jumped to the right, and Anko to the left. However, this was all a setup. Emerging from the forest while the Jonin were dodging, Hinata struck Anko in the ribs with her palm. Kakashi received a blow from Sakura on the right. They were thrown back, and at that moment they felt something strike them in the back. They crashed into each other. They looked up and saw that they were surrounded by Genin. Kakashi and Anko jumped to their feet, ready to fight. Sasuke lunged at Kakashi, but leaped over him and kicked Anko in the head. Stunned, Kakashi took two punches, a left from Sakura and a right from Naruto. Both landed in his face. Hinata delivered several light punches to Anko's stomach. Anko dodged each blow, but then Sasuke struck her from behind, causing her to stagger, but then she decided to press the attack. She summoned several snakes to attack. Hinata struck each one, then threw 4 kunai at Anko. Anko backflipped to avoid it, but Sasuke appeared and kicked her in the stomach, knocking her to the ground. The kunai struck their intended target, which turned out to be Kakashi. Kakashi dodged a barrage of punches from Sakura while Naruto kicked him in the head and torso. Just as he was about to go on the offensive, something struck him in the legs. 4 kunai, 2 in each leg. Kakashi fell to his knees, and Naruto kicked him in the back of the head. Kakashi was thrown into a tree, and Anko was thrown into the same tree by the combined efforts of Naruto and Sakura. Then Hinata ran to hit their Tenketsu while they were unconscious. Unbeknownst to her, Anko had already regained consciousness and threw a kunai at her. Hinata didn't have time to dodge, and the kunai hit her in the shoulder. Hinata screamed in pain and fell to the ground, clutching her shoulder. Seeing this, Naruto became enraged, activated his Rinnegan, and extended both arms. Bansho Tenin! Universal attraction, Kakashi and Anko were pulled toward him. Naruto canceled the technique when they were close enough, and Sasuke and Sakura pounced on their teachers. Sakura landed a strong right punch to Anko's face. sending her to the ground. Sasuke did the same to Kakashi. Then they grabbed the bells, and Naruto ran to check on Hinata. But then the alarm rang. "You did well, but it looks like Naruto and Hinata are heading back to the academy," Kakashi said as he and Anko began to stand up. "No, that's not true," Sasuke began. "We know what the test is all about. It's teamwork. You tried to separate us, but it didn't work. If they come back, we'll come back with them," Sasuke said. Then Kakashi turned to Sakura. "Do you agree?" Sakura nodded confidently. "Well then, you all." Kakashi was interrupted by Anko. "You're all passing. And remember these words. Those who break the rules are trash, but those who abandon their comrades are even worse. Okay, tomorrow we'll start training and assignments. I have to go. Bye." Anko said quickly and disappeared into a swirl of leaves, shocking everyone. "Damn it, Anko, you ruined my speech," Kakashi exclaimed, frowning. "Anyway, I'll meet you back here tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Goodbye, guys," he said, and also disappeared into a flurry of leaves. The Genin were the only ones on the field. Naruto was bandaging Hinata after removing the kunai from her shoulder. Then Sasuke remembered something from the test. "Dabo, what happened to your eyes earlier?" he asked Naruto. Sakura was also curious, since Sasuke was curious. "Since we're on the same team, I'll tell you. The Hokage said I have a lineage that hasn't existed for centuries. It's the original Kekkei Genkai, the Rinnegan wielded by the Rikudo Sennin." He then activated his eyes and showed them. They were shocked by this information. Sakura fainted in shock, and Sasuke simply froze. Then Naruto left with Hinata in his arms, holding her bridal style. Sasuke saw his retreating figure and thought, "This power must be mine. I will have the power to kill this man. I swear it. As long as you don't get in my way, everything will be fine, dope." Then Sasuke took the bento box and left, while Sakura was still lying unconscious on the ground. She woke up, took the bento box, and left. I wonder what will happen to their team tomorrow. And so how did I do? I'll admit, this isn't my best chapter, but I think it went well. And I also want to say that from now on, I won't be updating the blog as often. I'll try when I can, but that's because I already wrote these chapters before I created the account. However, I'm writing chapter 6 and will post it as soon as possible. And now it's time for everyone's favorite event, responding to reviews. Airmed, thank you. I decided I couldn't separate Naruto from Hinata, but I also needed to show his connection with Sasuke in this story. As for Sakura, I thought my character would fit better with Team Kurenai, but she won't be appearing much. As for Anko, she'll definitely be playing pranks on them. Kakashi is really in for a fun trip. Let's hope he didn't eat before the trip. But wait until Jiraiya comes into play and meets Anko. Evil laughter plays in the background, accompanied by thunder and lightning. Rose Tiger, yeah, I thought if the poster with the emotionless boy screamed like that, it might help illustrate how much you missed the signs. Glad you liked it. Naruto newbie, glad you liked it. The character was created as Hinata's replacement on Team 8, but she'll play a major role when it comes to the blonde ninja from Suna. I think Anko and Naruto as a prankster duo is a nightmare. Wave will be funny. Sasuke will remain an emo dork for now, but he'll loosen up a bit. Sakura will still be a fan for a while, but that will change. Naruto and Hinata woke up at 4 a.m. to get ready. They showered, got dressed, and had breakfast. At 5:30 a.m., they headed to Training Ground 7. On the way, they encountered Kurenai and her Genin team. Hinata and Naruto decided to say hello. "Good morning, Kurenai-sensei, Murasaka-san, Kiba-san, Shino-san." Hinata greeted, and Naruto waved at them. "Good morning, Hinata-chan, Naruto-san. What are you doing today?" Kurenai asked. "We're going to our team meeting," Hinata said. Then Kurenai saw how close Naruto and Hinata were. And while she had nothing against the boy, She viewed Hinata as a daughter. Therefore, by the laws of life itself, she had the right to threaten Naruto. "Naruto, come here for a minute," she called to him. Then she leaned over and whispered in his ear. "I see you and Hinata are together, and that's a good thing, so I'll warn you now. You heard her, and I have a special genjutsu in store for you," she finished. The special genjutsu she's referring to is a continuous loop of a jonin in a green spandex suit with orange leg warmers and a flak jacket, with black hair cut in a bowl cut and thick eyebrows, hugging a boy wearing the exact same suit down to the hair and eyebrows, only without the flak jacket, and his hands are bandaged. In the background, there's a sunset and crashing waves. Essentially, it looks like a video is playing, as it's a recording. Meanwhile, a certain Hyuga with white eyes, long brown hair, wearing a khaki shirt and brown shorts, with bandages on his right arm and right leg and a black bandage on his forehead named Niji, suddenly shuddered along with his teammate Tintin from the feeling of unimaginable horrors being forced upon someone. "Niji, did you feel it?" Tintin asked. "Yes. It seems someone was threatened with something unimaginably terrible. Let's hope the same fate doesn't befall them," Niji said. They continued to watch as their sensei and teammates shouted about the joys of youth. Naruto nodded to Kurenai, a little startled by the vague threat, but otherwise calm. He was starting to get used to threats, though of course he would never harm Hinata. They chatted for a while longer, and Kiba and Naruto vowed to defeat each other at the first opportunity. Shino and Kurenai barely spoke. Murasaka talked to Hinata about a few things, and Murasaka advised her to find her natural element and ask their senseis about it. Naruto and Hinata headed to the training grounds. Arriving there at 7 a.m., they spotted a lake. They decided to practice walking on water before everyone else arrived. They trained for an hour, and Hinata excelled, while Naruto came close thanks to his Kage Bunshin shadow clones. The rest of the time they devoted to weapons training. Naruto trained with his katana, which had yet to be named. Hinata also trained with her sai, which, when combined with her juken, gentle fist, becomes even more deadly. Sasuke and Sakura arrived soon after and decided to stretch a bit. Well, Sasuke stretched while thinking about something, and Sakura fawned over him. Kakashi and Anko appeared in 2 swirls of leaves. "Sorry we're late, but we had to help some old ladies with their bags," Kakashi said, smiling with his eyes. The team simply ignored him. "Okay, today we'll test your skills individually to see what needs improvement. Sakura, you'll fight Anko first," Kakashi said. Sakura nodded and assumed her Academy Taijutsu stance. Anko grinned wickedly and assumed her Hebekin stance. Everyone else stepped aside to watch. "Ready?" Kakashi asked. Both fighters nodded. "Hajime!" Kakashi shouted. Sakura ran up to Anko and landed several punches to her face. Anko dodged each blow with relative ease. Jumping back, she pulled out a scroll. She unrolled it, and smoke billowed out. A bottle of sake and a stick of dango emerged. Anko began eating and drinking, while everyone else watched, sweating profusely. Sakura grew angry and unleashed a flurry of punches, but Anko dodged them, not even concentrating on her movements. Sakura had enough and landed one last punch to Anko's face. Anko stepped aside, still holding the dango in her mouth. Sakura accidentally knocked the dango out of her mouth, and it fell to the training ground. Kakashi watched the scene in horror. If there's one thing everyone knows, it's that dango to Anko is like ramen to Naruto. If something goes wrong, the consequences could terrify even Orochimaru. Meanwhile, in Otogekure, an extremely pale man with snake-like eyes and long black hair dropped the test tube to the floor in shock. He began breathing rapidly and shaking uncontrollably. "I feel like someone has incurred the wrath of my former student by defiling her dango. I feel so sorry for whoever did this," he thought in horror. On the training ground, Anko's face was filled with shock, then turned so dark that Sakura paled. Kakashi, standing at a distance, visibly retreated in fear. Hinata leaped into Naruto's arms in fear, and all the color drained from his face. Sasuke began shaking uncontrollably, thinking, "She's scarier than Itachi." Her eyes were smoldering with anger, and she had the wicked grin of a predator. Behind her, the image of a Shinigami loomed. "You ruined my dango?" she said slowly. "Now your life is over. Sanaijishu!" Shadow Snake Strike! Anko screamed, releasing 13 snakes from each sleeve. Sakura did what any sane person would do. She ran for her life, dodging snakes left and right and screaming. Kakashi soon put an end to it after about 5 minutes. "Okay, Anko, you've proven your point. You win," Kakashi said, making her stop. Anko nodded, but shot Sakura a look that said, "We're not done yet. Okay, Sakura, a couple of points. First, you didn't use ninjutsu or jinjutsu, so work on that. Second, your taijutsu is literally punching and kicking without form, so work on that. And third," Anko interrupted him, "stop being a useless fan." Anko yelled at the pink-haired girl. This remark sent shivers down everyone's spines, except Sakura, who seemed offended by the very idea of being a fan. "I'm not a fan. My love for Sasuke-kun is genuine, just like his love for me." She spoke as if she were completely sane. What she didn't notice was someone moving behind the tree, as well as the sounds of retching and heavy breathing. "All right, Sasuke, you're up against Anko next," Kakashi said. Sasuke stepped out from behind a tree and stood in front of Anko in an Uchiha Interceptor fist stance. Anko assumed a Hebekin stance. They charged at each other, Sasuke landing a left punch to the head of Anko, who ducked. She drove her right foot into Sasuke's stomach as she ducked. Sasuke grabbed the leg and flipped over it. As he landed, he tripped her. Anko fell backward, but quickly got up and landed a punch in Sasuke's face as he rose from the trip. Sasuke was sent flying backward and rolled across the grass until he came to a stop a few meters away from Anko. He then used Katan Hozenka no Jutsu, Fire Style, Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Several fireballs flew out of Sasuke's mouth, which Anko continued to dodge left and right. After dodging the last one, which tilted backwards in the Matrix style, she walked over and saw Sasuke finishing a series of hand gestures. Shinsina Uchiha Katan, Ryusei Barisu, Uchiha Sacred Fire Style, Meteor Breath. A crimson fireball the size of a building flew out of Sasuke's mouth. It rushed towards Anko at high speed. Anko didn't have time to dodge, so she used a jutsu she hated the thought of. However, she could either use it or be burned to ashes. She placed her hands on the ground and shouted, "Kuchios, Rashomon!" Summon, Rashomon, a large gate with a menacing image on the door appeared from the ground. This easily stopped the large fireball. Sasuke began to choke after this technique, as he had used up most of his chakra in that fireball attack. Well done, Sasuke. You've earned your Rookie of the Year title, but you still need to work on a few things, like adding a few new jutsu to your arsenal, gaining experience, and addressing some of the weaknesses in your taijutsu. Kakashi said, "My taijutsu has no flaws. It surpasses all other styles," Sasuke said arrogantly. "Kakashi will also have to work on getting rid of your arrogant gaki, brat," Anko said. Sasuke frowned at this remark. Okay, next up is Hinata. Hinata nodded, and Naruto wished her luck. Hinata stood in front of Anko, adopting the Juho stance and activating her Byakugan. Anko assumed the stance and charged at Hinata. Anko threw a left punch at Hinata's face. Hinata dodged, spinning around the punch. She then delivered 3 strikes to the Tenketsu points on Anko's left arm, evading the blow. Hinata then kicked Anko out from under her feet, causing her to fall. As Anko fell, Hinata filled her hands with chakra and delivered 9 strikes to Anko, 2 to the abdomen, 3 to each rib, and a final strike to the chest. All the while she shouted, "Juho, Kyu Tenohira no Tsuruiki. Soft step, 9 palm strikes. Anko hit the ground hard after Hinata's final strike. Kakashi then declared the match over. Okay, Hinata, well done. You just need a little patience and experience. You should also improve your new taijutsu, but Anko can help with that. Hinata nodded and unlocked Anko's Tenketsu glasses. Anko, I'm going to spar with Naruto, so you can watch the match. Anko nodded and stepped aside. Kakashi stood in front of Naruto and walked out of the fight. His book, Paradise Ichicha. This angered Anko, and she walked up to Naruto and whispered something in his ear. Naruto nodded in response to her words. Naruto assumed a Kitsune stance and then created 30 Kage Bunshin. Kakashi simply dodged and attacked the clones, without even looking up from his book. The real Naruto decided to activate his Rinnegan and extended his hand, muttering, Bansho Tenin, Universal Attraction. It wasn't Kakashi that was pulled, but his book. Kakashi's eyes widened in fear, and he lunged at Naruto, quickly snatching the book and landing behind him. Kakashi then turned around, cupping his hands and raising his middle and index fingers. Never let an enemy get behind you, Naruto. Senin Kuroshi. 1,000 years of death. Just as Kakashi was about to slip his fingers behind Naruto's back, an explosion rang out, throwing him back. Apparently, he hadn't noticed that Naruto had placed a small explosive note on his book. The book exploded, throwing him back. Kakashi saw the scattered pages of his destroyed book and shed a tear from his visible eye. Meanwhile, Anko was laughing her head off, leaning on Hinata, who was also laughing. Sakura was giggling, and Sasuke, as always, stood there with an impassive expression, even though deep down, his chibi self was laughing her head off. Naruto extended his palms outward and channeled chakra into them. Futon, Kaze Hoshi no Jutsu. Wind style, Wind Star Jutsu. A vortex of wind erupted from Naruto's palms and continued to swirl around him. It formed into one visible whitish-blue 5-pointed star. Naruto threw the star at Kakashi, who dodged it. Or so he thought. The star split into 5 points and flew at Kakashi. Kakashi, who was not expecting this, received a blow to the legs and arm. Naruto then decided to finish the fight with Shinra Tensei, Almighty Push, but a strange feeling stopped him. Kakashi threw a kunai at him. Naruto instinctively raised his hands, and the kunai stopped in the air. It just hovered there, and Naruto did not understand how it happened. If he had used Shinra Tensei or Bansho Tenin, the kunai would have flown forward or been pulled towards him. Everyone just stood there, wondering what he was doing. Hinata activated her Byakugan and saw what he was doing. He was channeling chakra into an object to keep it suspended. He was manipulating the object's gravity to make it heavy or light. Hinata realized the object had to be a certain distance away from him, and guessed he could do this with multiple objects, but he'd need more control. It was quite impressive, to say the least, and Hinata would tell Naruto about it after the test. Naruto stopped what he was doing with the kunai and extended his hand to the still shocked Kakashi. Bansho Tenin! Kakashi was pulled forward, then stopped by Naruto's right hook. As Kakashi stood up, Naruto held his katana to his neck. Everyone was impressed by Naruto's abilities. Okay, well done, Naruto. All you need is experience and a few new jutsu. By the way, what did you do with my kunai? Kakashi asked. I can answer that, Hinata began. Naruto-kun can apparently use chakra to make objects heavier or lighter by affecting their gravity, Kakashi-sensei, Hinata explained. Everyone's jaws dropped. Sasuke was angry upon hearing this, but soon realized that he would simply defeat him once he received his Sharingan to prove whose bloodline was better. Then Kakashi got everyone back on track. Okay, we'll work on addressing your shortcomings for 2 more hours today, and then we'll head out on our mission. Everyone nodded. Kakashi took Sasuke and Naruto to help them, while Hinata and Sakura stayed with Anko, and the smile Anko gave Sakura sent shivers down her spine. Okay, Princess and Pepto-Bismol. I'll correct your taijutsu mistakes and teach you the jinjutsu I know. But first, do 100 jumping jacks, 100 push-ups, and 100 squats, she told them. They obeyed Sakura, realizing one simple thing. This will be the most painful moment of my life. Meanwhile, Kakashi created a shadow clone to work with Sasuke, as he needed to hone his taijutsu. He and Naruto decided to practice swordsmanship, as Kakashi was an ANBU agent and accustomed to using one. They practiced for an hour, and Naruto excelled. Then they moved on to perfecting his Preta Path chakra absorption ability. Kakashi had just spent an hour throwing fireballs at Naruto, absorbing their chakra. This was to increase his speed, but Kakashi noticed something. He approached Naruto, who had activated his path, and felt his chakra draining. He then realized that if Naruto could reduce the height and length of the barrier, but increase its number, then by that same logic, he could place them around his arms and legs and create a pseudo-juken, where instead of blocking chakra points, you steal chakra directly from the opponent. However, this would require more chakra control training and at least control at the level of a mid-level chunin, and Naruto hadn't yet reached that level. The team stopped training for the day. Sasuke improved his taijutsu slightly, and Hinata did the same, learning jinjutsu. Sakura easily mastered jinjutsu but struggled with taijutsu, as Anko's style didn't suit her. Naruto heard Kakashi's theory and decided to work on his chakra control, as well as his sword. Kakashi told him he had an old friend in ANBU who could teach him swordsmanship, and another who could teach Hinata how to use her sai. Team 7 decided to approach the Hokage with a mission request. The only remaining mission was to capture a pet. Kakashi read the mission details and agreed. He asked for 6 radios, but the Hokage reminded him that they would need code names, and Anko decided to name everyone except Hinata, whose code name Naruto had chosen. Time transitioned into the forest. Sakura stood behind a tree, speaking into her radio. "This is the pink harpy. Oh, how I hate you, Anko-sensei. I don't see any sign of the target," Sakura said. "This is the fox prince. I see a target about 20 meters from here," Naruto said. "This is the raven princess. I see the target approximately 23 meters away from me." "She's 10 meters away from you, Lord Emo," Hinata said, trying not to giggle. "It's Emo Lord." "Damn you, sensei. I'm closest to the target. Can I catch it?" Sasuke asked. "Okay, it's the Porn King." "Damn it, Anko. I give you permission right now," Kakashi ordered. Sasuke jumped on top of the cat and grabbed it. The cat then began clawing at his face, trying to escape, and succeeded. It leaped into the air and landed in the arms of Hinata, who had accidentally gotten in the way along with everyone else. The cat nuzzled her hands, and Hinata was shocked that the vicious cat somehow liked her. Oddly enough, the cat nodded at Naruto, and Hinata wondered if it was because of his animal path powers. Hinata took some of the cat's fur to look at later, when it was time for Naruto's path. "Sensei Hinata has a goal. The red bow on her ear is definitely Tora. This is the Snake Queen, well done. Okay, mission accomplished. Let's go see Hokage-sama for our reward," Anko said over the radio. The team handed the cat to a rather large woman in fashionable clothes, who began hugging it, or smothering it. Sasuke smirked at the sight, but everyone had the same thought. No wonder that cat ran away. They all got their pay and left, happy that they wouldn't have to chase that cat anymore. Yeah. Right. Part 7 wave. Commentary on Part 7 wave. Wow, several parts in one day. One day, Naruto and Hinata woke up and went to meet their team at the 7th training ground. Over the past month, the team had completed a total of 26 missions. Their individual skills had improved, as had their teamwork, thanks to Kakashi assigning them tasks that encouraged teamwork. He also began training Sasuke and Sakura in chakra control, as Naruto and Hinata were ahead of them in this area. He began training them after being threatened by the pranksters Naruto and Anko. This in itself is a horror that should never be unleashed. As a genin, Sakura perfected her taijutsu style and mastered several jutsu. These jutsu include Magen, Narakumi no Jutsu, Demonic Illusion, Death Mirage Jutsu, which she learned from Kakashi, which shows targets their worst nightmare, Magen, Chubaku Satsu, which shows the victim trapped in a tree and the user killing them after emerging from the tree due to being part of the tree, Furesu Kasen, Flash Ray, a small burst of chakra that temporarily blinds the opponent, and Banshee Screech, which emits a scream-like sonic screech that causes people to temporarily go deaf, and briefly experience intense ear pain, for which Anko gave her a scroll after finding it, saying it was perfect for her use. She was also able to perform the tree walking exercise, and worked on walking on water. Sasuke has improved upon the shortcomings of his taijutsu and has gained several new Katan Jutsu, fire-style jutsu, including Katan, Kane Bakufu no Jutsu, fire-style, Flame Burst Jutsu, which fires a small wall of fire that rushes towards its target at high speed, Katan, Anden, fire-style, Fire Bombs, which involves the user creating oil in their mouth and then releasing a large fireball that can injure or kill depending on the amount of oil used, and Katan, Inferno Yari, fire style, Inferno, Spear, which creates a small jet of fire that pierces anything it comes into contact with, and takes the form of a spear. He has also learned to climb trees, and has progressed to water walking, which he is mastering. Hinata worked on her taijutsu style, Juho, Gentle Step, and significantly increased her chakra reserves after advancing from Chunin to Chunin. She also learned to wield her shuriken from Kakashi's old ANBU friend, ANBU agent Hibari, Lark, who taught Hinata how to effectively use shuriken. She can easily defeat Chunin and hold her own against low to mid-level Jonin. Furthermore, she has even greater chakra control. Naruto trained in chakra control, learning to walk on water thanks to his shadow clone. He also learned to use a sword from the ANBU agent Nico, a cat, who turned out to be Anko's roommate. He also worked on his renegade abilities. He began mastering the Deva Path's ability to manipulate an object's gravity, making it light or heavy, and even causing it to float. He also began using his Preta Path ability in combat, creating for small barriers around his arms and legs, allowing him to absorb someone's chakra using taijutsu. In the human path, he discovered he could rip out people's souls. He also learned basic exercises for other elemental abilities thanks to his shadow clone. Today they meet with the Hokage and Irika to discuss several missions, and Kakashi believes that they deserve a reward for their work over the past month. Hokage-sama, I'd like to recommend my team for a C-rank mission, Kakashi said. This inspired the Genin. Sasuke, Naruto, and Hinata were tired of D-rank missions. Hinata didn't mind D-rank missions, but she quickly grew tired of them. Naruto hated them, but kept it to himself, afraid of what Hinata, Sakura, and Anko would do to him if he made a fool of himself. Sakura was the only one who actually liked ranks. Anko actually wanted the Yamanakas to examine her head, because this kind of behavior was abnormal. Okay, I have a C-rank mission for you guys. You are to escort and guard a bridge builder to Nami no Kuni, the land of waves, so he can work on the bridge there. You are also to protect him from threats while he works on the bridge, the Hokage said. Normally, Irika would have shouted that they weren't ready for a C-rank mission, but the team had performed admirably. Besides, he didn't want to fall victim to Naruto and Anko's prank. The last one to be pranked was Ebisu, who insulted Naruto and Anko and asked Hinata what she saw in Naruto. The joke was that he was drugged, stripped naked, hung by a rope over the women's section of the hot springs and lowered continuously into a crowd of screaming women who were waiting to tear him to pieces, and then raised and lowered again for an hour until they dumped him in the hot springs, abandoning him to his fate. The Hokage called a shinobi and asked for a client. The client walked through the door. He was an elderly, gray-haired man with a large gray beard, a pointed hat, a black sleeveless V-neck shirt, black obi pants, and a white towel around his neck. He held a bottle of sake in his hands and drank from it. "So, this is Tazuna, who you will be guarding," the Hokage said to Team 7. "Wait, so you're giving me a man who looks like he'd rather sleep, a woman who looks promiscuous, a girl who looks like she fell into a vat of pink paint, a boy who looks like his dog was killed, and actually the last two look like they know what they're doing despite their young age," Tazuna said, and took a sip of sake. Kakashi was holding Anko back from gutting the man right there on the spot. Sakura and Sasuke were frowning and furrowing their brows. Kakashi looked unfazed, and Naruto and Hinata were just laughing at the whole thing. "My name is Tazuna, and I'm the super bridge builder from the super cool Nami no Kuni," Tazuna told them, and they nodded and left to pack their things, learning that the mission would last a month. They left the village and headed toward their destination. Sakura asked why the Land of Waves had no ninja, but she was told that the Land of Waves had no ninja and that it was a fishing village that had been taken over by a tyrant, and that the bridge was the only way to restore trade and save the village. As they continued walking, Naruto, Hinata, Kakashi, and Anko noticed two puddles in the middle of the road, even though it hadn't rained for weeks. Naruto and Hinata looked at their senseis, who nodded, signaling them to get ready. Naruto and Hinata quickened their pace, passing the puddles. As Kakashi and Anko stopped at the puddles, two figures leaped out and wrapped chains connected by their gauntlets around Anko and Kakashi. They pulled the chains and tore the jonin apart, shocking Sasuke, Sakura, and Tazuna. "Two down," one of the ninjas said. Two ninja charged at the genin. Sakura jumped in front of Tazuna, kunai in hand. Sasuke lunged at one of them and kicked him, sending him flying into a tree. Hinata blocked the other's chakra points, and then severed his arm with her sai. Naruto used Shinra Tensei, Almighty Push, on him, sending him flying into the same tree as the first. Kakashi and Anko emerged from the forest unharmed and pointed to the logs that had been used in their place. They then approached Tazuna and explained that they had just fought the missing ninja from Kirigakure no Sato, Hidden Mist Village. "Tazuna, you paid for a C-rank mission, and this is beyond C-rank. The next opponent will likely be at the level of a Jonin. This is now a B-rank mission, bordering on A rank. And while my Genin are exceptional, they are not ready for this mission. We must leave," Kakashi said. "Forget it, Sensei, I'll stay. Even if I'm alone, I'll protect him. Besides, if we leave, we'll lose the respect of the various countries," Naruto said. Everyone nodded in response, filled with respect for Naruto. They all agreed to continue the mission on the condition that they received more information about what was happening. They then took a boat across the sea to reach Nami no Kuni, where Tazuna told them about the state of affairs in the country and how the tyrant Gato of Gato Industries actually runs a criminal empire that controls Nami no Kuni, taking all the profits, leaving the people destitute, and specializing in human trafficking. This fact disgusted Anko, Sakura, and Hinata, but they decided to continue the mission. The team disembarked from the boat and continued on, trying to see through the thick fog. As they walked, Naruto sensed something in the bushes and threw a kunai at them. He then parted the bushes and saw a white rabbit. "Sorry about that, little one," Naruto said to the rabbit, then began petting it, as did Hinata, while everyone relaxed. However, Kakashi and Anko noticed the color of the rabbit's fur. It was white, and it was spring outside. White rabbits don't go outside in the spring unless they have an owner, and they don't go outside without an owner unless it's Kawarimi. Replacement. Kakashi and Anko seemed to be thinking the same thing. "Get down!" Anko shouted. Kakashi tackled Tazuna to the ground, barely dodging a large blade that flew over their heads. Sasuke ducked, Sakura dove to the left, and Anko ducked. Naruto saw that Hinata was about to be struck and wouldn't have time to dodge. so he rushed toward her, intending to take the blow himself. Instead of cutting flesh, the blade struck metal. Naruto revealed his Azura path in the form of mechanized armor. He wore a silver steel vest that covered his torso front and back. The large blade bounced off the metal armor and fell to the ground. A large man emerged from the shadows. He had short, spiky black hair, and the lower half of his face was covered in bandages. He was shirtless, but he wore a belt with a sword hanging from his chest. He was muscular, wore baggy striped pants, and wore a kirigakure headband. The symbol consisted of 4 wavy lines, 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. His name was Momochi Zabuza, Kirigakure no Kijin, Demon of the Hidden Mist. Isn't it a surprise? Sharingan no Kakashi, Kakashi of the Sharingan, and Anko Hibinoju, Anko, the Snake Queen, and also a genin who can block the Kubikura Bocho decapitation. This will be fun, hee hee hee, Zabuza said, chuckling evilly. Sasuke froze at the sound of Kakashi's nickname. Momochi Zabuza, Kirigakure no Kijin. I believe Anko, and I will have to finish you off. Considering your past. In Kiri, the graduation exam was that you had to kill a classmate in a duel, but you killed the entire class even though you weren't a student, Kakashi said, then turned to the genin. Guys, protect Tazuna in Bakusu, box formation. The genin nodded and surrounded Tazuna. Sasuke stood in front of him with a kunai in hand. Sakura stood to Tazuna's left with a kunai in hand. Naruto stood to Tazuna's right with a sword in hand, and Hinata stood behind Tazuna with a sai in hand. They all stood with their backs to Tazuna. Zabuza, it looks like Kakashi and I will be fighting you. I would gladly take your head as a reward, and I would also drink your blood. Kukuku, Anko said, drawing a kunai. Kakashi lifted the eye patch over his left eye and pushed it down onto his forehead. He opened his left eye, revealing a red eye with a black pupil and 3 black tomo around the pupil. Sasuke saw this eye and was shocked. Oh, the Sharingan from the very beginning. It's an honor, Zabuza said, swinging his large blade. He charged at Kakashi and Anko, swinging the blade and trying to cut them in half. Anko leaped over him, doing a backflip, and Kakashi ducked, raised his leg, and struck Zabuza in the chest, sending him flying backward. That Sharingan, Kakashi, is impressive. I'd be happy to cut it out of your eye socket, Zabuza said and rushed at him again. The genin watched the battle in awe, but something was bothering Sakura. Wait, what's the Sharingan? She asked. The Sharingan is the Uchiha clan's dojutsu. The Sharingan gives a savage the ability to see the flow of chakra. It also provides clarity of perception, allowing us to break Jinjutsu and see if one has been cast. With it, we can also use and break Jinjutsu, Sasuke explained, then thought to himself. And Kakashi is an Uchiha? That's a fine explanation, brat, but you're missing one thing. The Sharingan allows people to copy other people's movements as well as jutsu. That's why Kakashi is known for copying over 1,000 jutsu, Zabuza said, and the genin stared at him in shock. Then Zabuza decided to change the rules of the game. He approached the tiger mark to perform hand seals. Then he raised his left hand, still holding the seal, above his head, leaving his right hand in place. Kirigakure no Jutsu, Jutsu of the Hidden Mist, Zabuza said. A white mist formed around him, and he vanished into it. No one could see him. Hinata was about to activate her Byakugan when she heard something that made her freeze in place. 8 points: larynx, spine, lungs, liver, jugular vein, subclavian artery, kidneys, heart, Zabuza's voice said, filled with killing intent. Everyone froze except Naruto, Anko, and Kakashi. A bead of sweat rolled down Sasuke's forehead. Is this how Jonin fight? Is this what it feels like to feel the adrenaline rush and the pain? It's exhilarating. I can't stand it. I'll go crazy if I keep this up, Sasuke thought frantically. Then his thoughts stopped. Gaki, calm down. We won't let any of you die. Anko told Sasuke, which calmed him down, as he hadn't realized the kunai at his neck was about to take his life. Kakashi was looking for Zabuza when he sliced him in half with his blade. Then Zabuza disappeared and appeared before Hinata, intending to finish her off so he could get to the bridge builder. Anko fired her snakes, but they didn't reach him in time. Naruto used Kawarimi to switch places with her and looked at Zabuza, activating his Rinnegan. Zabuza froze, looking into unfamiliar eyes, but for some reason thinking that they were familiar to him. "You tried to hurt my Hinata-chan. I will destroy you. Shinra Tensei!" Naruto screamed at Zabuza, and an invisible force threw him back. Zabuza flew back and was struck from behind. He then transformed into water, revealing himself to be a Mizubanshin water clone. The thing that struck him was Kakashi, who replaced him with a log. Anko and Kakashi stood back to back, holding kunai. Zabuza appeared and struck them several times. They were pushed back to the lake, where Zabuza, like Kakashi, made hand signs. Ox, monkey, hare, rat, boar, bird, ox, horse, bird, rat, tiger, dog, tiger, snake, ox, ram, snake, boar, rams, rat, yang, water, monkey, bird, dragon, bird, ox, horse, rams, tiger, snake, rat, monkey, hare, boar, dragon, ram, rat, ox, monkey, bird, yang, water, rat, boar, bird. They both went through the same hand seals. Suiton, Surya no Jutsu. Water style, water dragon jutsu, they shouted. Two large dragons created from water collided with each other. The collision caused water to fall and blind everyone. Zabuza then attacked Kakashi and Anko from behind and pushed them into the water. Zabuza then went through the hand seals. Snake ram horse hare. Then he held out his palm in front of them. Suiro no Jutsu. Water prison jutsu. A ball of water formed around them, trapping them. Kakashi and Anko could still speak, despite being underwater. Run! Your job is to protect Tazuna. Go! Kakashi shouted. That option was out of the question when you were captured, Sensei. If we run, you'll die, and then he'll kill us. We have to fight now. Naruto shouted, drawing his sword. All the genin nodded, and though Kakashi was angry, he was glad they understood what it meant to work as a team. Ha! You brats can't beat me. You can't even beat my Mizubanshin. Zabuza then created 4 clones out of water. They charged at the genin. Sasuke knocked the head off one of the clones. Sakura and Hinata protected Tazuna, and Naruto created 3 Kagebunshin, which destroyed the last 3. Oh, genin who know how to fight. But you're still nothing until you're in the bingo book. So now I'll probably kill you after I kill your senseis. Don't worry, you'll join them soon. You see, I'm the greatest Miss Ninja of all time. He was interrupted by an invisible force that pushed him into a tree. Then that tree broke and hit another, and that broke, and so on until he'd fallen through 6 trees. He rose with shards in his back. Okay, I'll kill you, Zabuza shouted, swinging his sword. Naruto drew his katana and, with his Rinnegan activated, rushed at Zabuza. Zabuza slashed at Naruto, cutting him in half. Naruto raised his sword over his head and blocked the blow. He then used his ability to manipulate gravity to push Zabuza's sword back. Naruto leaped up and struck Zabuza in the chest. Naruto then flipped in midair, regained his footing, and charged at Zabuza. Zabuza swung his sword to split Naruto into his upper and lower halves. Naruto leaped over the swing and brought the sword down on Zabuza, slicing through his chest. Naruto then leaped backward, walking on water. Zabuza joined the fight. Good job, brat, but few can hurt me. So now it's my turn. He made the hand signals. Tiger, bull, monkey, rabbit, ram, boar, bull, horse, monkey, tiger, dog, tiger, snake, tiger, bull, monkey, rabbit, bird. Suiton, Daibakufu no Jutsu. Giant whirlwind water style. A large wave formed behind him, rushing towards Naruto like a waterfall. Naruto simply extended his arms forward and absorbed the chakra from the jutsu, greatly shocking Zabuza and everyone else. Then Naruto did the final thing. He extended his arm and said, Shinra Tensei! almighty push. Zabuza was thrown against a tree, unable to move. What kind of child are you? Zabuza muttered to Naruto. Naruto approached him and transformed his hand into a long whip covered in spikes, thanks to his Azura path. You will die, Naruto said, preparing to kill him, but a Saban pierced Zabuza's neck, killing him. Then a figure appeared, wearing a white mask with red markings. The figure was dressed in a green haori and brown pinstripe pants. The figure had long black hair. Thank you for stopping him for me. I would have had a hard time dealing with him alone if you hadn't stopped him for me, the man said. That wasn't hard, Kakashi told the figure, then walked over to Zabuza's corpse to check if he was dead. Kakashi felt no pulse. I'll take the body as a reward, so thank you for your service, the stranger said, picking up Zabuza's body and disappearing. Kakashi pulled his eye patch back on and told the Genin they were leaving before he collapsed from exhaustion from overusing the Sharingan. Naruto created 2 shadow clones to retrieve him, and they went to Tazuna's house to rest. They would prepare for the rest of the mission when Kakashi woke up.